What's up guys, Owen from Owen Thomas Woodcraft here. Not in my workshop because of the current lockdown situation, but I thought I'd make a few videos for you guys who've been asking me about spoon carving, because that's all I'm able to do at the moment. I've brought some of my tools home from the workshop so I can keep making stuff, keeps me sane, and also keeps a little bit of money coming in, and just give me something to do really. But I've had a lot of people ask me about what tools I use, so I'm going to cover the essential kit that you need to be able to carve a spoon, but I'll also show a few of the extra tools that I use that can help you along in the process. So when you are starting carving a spoon, there's only really three main tools that you need to have. You need a straight knife, a spoon knife, and an axe. So the straight knife that I use and that I recommend is made by a company called Mora from Sweden, and I use the Mora 106. And to be honest, a lot of the guys that I know that are professional carvers still use Mora 106. They are very cheap, relatively, but they're very, very well made. I mean, they make thousands and thousands of these. They're laminated steel. They come pretty sharp. I mean, anything you buy could always do with a little bit more of a sharpening. But as far as most knives that I've bought, it's no more. You need to do no more work on it than any of the other ones. But yeah, they're a really good little knife. You've got a nice long length on the blade. Nice thick bit for thicker part here for carving off big chunks, and a really nice thin point that's really important for getting round tight inner curves, such as the back part of the bowl of a spoon. So yeah, Mora 106 essential kit. The next thing I mentioned is a spoon knife. So hopefully you can see that. Spoon knife is a curved knife, so you only really use this for hollowing out the bowl, but that's very difficult to do with a straight knife. You could also use a gouge instead of a spoon knife, but I prefer these. So this knife is made by Wood Tools. It's run by Robin Wood. I've had these for ages. They're ones I use for teaching, and yeah, they're great. They're really good knives, and again, for the price, you cannot, to my mind at least, you cannot beat one of these. Like they're not anywhere near as big of a operation as Mora, but Wood Tools spoon knife, they do left hand and right hand. They do ones that are slightly more of an open sweep as well, which is useful for doing finishing, but this is, I think they call it a compound curve spoon knife. That's the one essential if you're looking to make up a spoon carving kit. This is what I'd recommend. Okay, and thirdly, the axe. So there's so many different brands of axe that you can get. My axe is made by Wetterlings. It is the wildlife hatchet, So it's got a fairly short handle. I don't know if you can actually get these anymore because Wetterlings aren't operating the same as they used to. Gransfors make a decent one, or make a very good one. Sorry, not a decent one. They make a very good one, very similar to this. They're slightly price-wise, they're sort of higher range than a beginner's axe. But what I would suggest if you are a total beginner, or anybody really, who needs another axe, is to go and check out Wood Tools again. I've got a bunch of their axes that I use for teaching. I don't have them here with me because I only bought what I needed. But yeah, Wood Tools, I'll put the link in the description, and you should check them out. So that's really the 3 tools that you need to start on your spoon carving journey. Spoon knife, straight knife, axe. Right, and the other quite important thing to have when you're spoon carving is something to sharpen your tools with. Doesn't have to be fancy. Any sort of sharpening stone really will do. You know, there's lots of opinion about it. There's loads of different ways you can sharpen stuff. It's important that you do have your knives sharp, and again we'll probably film a sharpening video because it gives me something to do. But really you can sharpen things well with stuff as basic as like wet and dry paper. Like I bought a pack of this from the hardware store for a couple of pounds. You don't need to spend tens and tens and tens of pounds, hundreds of pounds in some case, on expensive sharpening stones to get something nice and sharp. Wet and dry paper will work. Personally, I prefer wet stones, but this works well. It's just because I learned to sharpen on a stone. I prefer doing that. Yeah, so wet and dry paper. It's useful to have something which is nice and flat. You can wrap your paper around. Make sure you're getting a nice flat surface for doing your knife. You can get wooden dowel so you can sharpen the inside part of your spoon knife. That's really handy, a wooden dowel. I actually use this, which is it's a ceramic knife sharpener that I bought from IKEA years ago. Top tip from Robin Wood. These are great. They were really cheap. It's very hard, so I think he reckoned it was an equivalent of about maybe 10,000, like a 10,000 grit Waterstone. So that's very good for honing. But I found you can actually just wrap your wet and dry paper around it, work the inside, flick the paper off, and you can use that to sort of do a finish hone. The last thing, really, well, it's the same as the same flat bit of something that I showed you for putting the paper on top of, for doing a bit of honing. So that's basically polishing the edge. There's loads of stuff out there, loads of opinion as to what's the best thing to do, the best way to do it, best material to use. This is a piece of plywood, and it works fine. I use this sharpening compound that I got from Nick Westerman, Hewn and Hone. There's loads of different stuff you can get. Probably the easiest thing to get hold of at the moment would be Auto Sol, which is like a chrome polish. Tormek also make a really nice paste. That's actually probably my favourite thing to use, but I've run out, so I'm using this at the moment. But yeah, Auto Sol works really well, and you just squirt a load on to your flat surface. MDF works really well as well. You don't need fancy unicorn leather strops or anything like that to spend out a load of money. You can just use something, as long as you know it's flat, will work absolutely fine. So yeah, I just use this little bit of plywood, bit of that on there, bit of polishy, and job done. So right, so now we've covered the essentials. I'll show you the other few little bits that I use to help my spoon carving along. So one thing that can be useful but is absolutely not essential is an adze. So that's kind of like an axe turned on its side. You can see it's curved. This one is made by Hans Carlsen. It's brilliant. They are tricky to get hold of because they're that good. Everyone keeps buying them. But yeah, if you can get one of these, it really helps to speed up carving out the bowls of a spoon, and bowls in general. But yeah, I normally spend like 30 seconds, a minute, hollowing out the bowl of a spoon with my adze, and I find that speeds everything up for me. It's important that if you are going to get an adze, that you get one that's quite a small radius. I think this one's about 50 millimeters. If it's too wide, you won't be able to go down deep enough into a spoon bowl to really do any good. Right, next up is a large spoon knife, or a tucker cam, which I do most of my hollowing with. It's a really good tool. It's really efficient. You need to know how to use it properly to get the most out of it. You can do so much with this. You can do your roughing out and finishing. I think I see a lot of people use them as just like a roughing out tool because it's big and you can take big cuts out, and then you do most people do their fine finishing, I think, with a little spoon knife. But I do most of it, or on some spoons I do all of it with this. You just have to have the right level of control. I'll probably, because I've got, as most of you have, quite a lot of time on my hands at the moment, I'll probably do a video in the next few weeks about proper technique as to how to use this, how to use it safely, how to get the most out of it. Yeah, this one is made by Nick Westerman. Very difficult to get hold of because he's got a massive waiting list because he's that good. There are other makers that make them. The only one I'm going to say that I will say is good is made by Ben Orford, or Craft Lab Knives. If you following on Instagram or even on YouTube, I think it's Craft Lab Knives is his handle. There are a bunch of other makers, and I am absolutely not saying that those aren't good knives, but I've never used them, so I'm not going to tell you guys that they're good. Fair enough? Awesome. there we have it, guys. My tool kit. I hope you found it helpful. And as I said, I'm probably going to be filming a bunch more videos because I've got so much time on my hands at the moment. So if there's anything you want me to do a video about that's spoon carving related, because my lathe is still at my workshop, I can't turn at the moment, and it hurts. But anyway, yeah, if you have any suggestions for videos or any particular questions, please put a comment down below, and we'll attempt to address it as best I can in the current situation. Right, I hope you enjoyed that, and yeah, I'll catch you guys soon. So stay sharp, and especially with what's going on at the moment, stay positive.